Speaking private.
What do you want to speak in private?
Well, I've got some issues about this place.
Do you just want to turn your phone off? We just don't allow phones on. Do you just want to turn your phone off? We just don't allow phones on.
Sorry?
Do you want to turn your phone off? We don't allow recording. Do you want to turn your phone off? We don't allow recording.
Don't quote me from a legal point of view, but you can record. We've looked in the instructions. There's not a problem.
Yeah.
Video recording, I'm not so sure about. Personally, I'm not comfortable.
That's fine.
You could put this on the internet. You could put it on Facebook or whatever you do.
Well, if
I'm
you
not
was to
comfortable
say,
with that.
if you was to say I'm not comfortable about the situation,
I'm not
we
comfortable.
state
I'm
that.
comfortable with this recording, no
Right,
problem, but not the video recording. In fact, that it could go in the, as James says, in the public domain. I don't think our solicitors. I don't know from the legal point of view. Record is no problem, James. I can sit down and talk to you both, and you can record.
Yeah.
You've rung up, right? I've only picked up your email this morning. So I've been on holiday. Just to say the interview will be recorded. We looked in it up and said, yeah, there's no problem. And I came out willingly.
No problem.
Just so you're aware. Just turn it off.
It's off.
Right, that's fine. Okay. What are your issues?
Right. Let's get you some details out. Now, there was a compliance visit, I think, back in November, and it's been admitted by the compliance department that the report was sent from this office, from the Jobcentre, which is why they're out. So I'm putting a complaint in for gross negligence,
Right.
or to find out if the person has intentionally lied. This is what I believe to be the case.
Right.
It's an awkward bag, is this? Bear with me. Pardon me.
You're alright.
It's this old bag I've got, and there's a little clip on here. I just need to pull out and get it open.
I get you.
So what I want to know is who submitted the complaint and what the details are.
We don't submit complaints. If you tell us things when you come in for interviews, we refer. If you have a conversation, I don't know what your conversation is, but we refer to compliance when things need checking out. So if you say something at your interview like, I've done part-time work and you've not declared it, or there's some hint that you're working, then we'll ring compliance. They will check it out. There's no lying. It's a case of if someone suspects something may need looking at, then compliance come out and check it out. If there isn't a case, then that's fine. And that's
Do you
what
not agree that I'm
compliance is
entitled
for.
to know what that suspicion is?
Well, I'm sure compliance told you because you haven't told me.
Right. They've declared that someone from the job centre, and I asked who it was and they didn't know,
Right.
which is the worst thing about it.
Well, we all have eyes and everybody just sends through.
It's my understanding that when a release is being put in, you have a browser that you log into, you'll have an ID number that comes up, and on the left-hand side you've got a load of acronyms and codes like, I don't know them all, but for example JBP or JCP, might be late appointments or suspicion of this, suspicion of that, and that's what you've got on the system. Is that the method you use to refer to the compliance department, or do
We
you...
have an icon that we click on and it asks a series of questions. You go through the questions, you click whether they're relevant or not, and it refers direct.
So there's a record of any reports being forwarded to the compliance department?
Not from whom, it's just an automatic referral from a job centre.
So you yourselves wouldn't be able to tell me who issued a report to the compliance
I
department?
won't be able to tell you, no, because I don't have access to everybody's icons.
Who does have access?
Well, it just goes through a central inbox. It doesn't matter who refers. Well, it just goes through a central inbox. It doesn't matter who refers. If someone has a conversation on Frontline, it is their right. I do lots of referrals on a weekly basis. It's our right to inform.
I don't dispute that. Yeah.
There's
Do you understand I'm not
question.
here to dispute that though?
I'm not. I'm just explaining what we do.
Yeah.
If a question arises, it's our job to refer it to compliance to check it out, and they will prove either that it's just a question that didn't need answering, or there might be something more to answer to.
Right, I
So
don't.
there's no blame and there's no lies, it's just a job that they do. It's like when you put in a claim for benefit, they will check some people's bank accounts and they will check that what they say is right.
Right, I don't dispute that.
So I'm not quite sure what were your question. You haven't
Right.
told me the full case yet, obviously. I'm not quite sure what were your question. You haven't
Right.
told me the full case yet, obviously.
Well, I'll give you my full story. It's all on paper anyway, but like you come into this cold, so obviously you don't know what's happened, or do you? Do you have any idea what this meeting was about?
I thought it was because you were having quite an in-depth argument with Daryl and you were getting quite loud and then you asked to see a manager. You'd requested to see me before.
Yeah. There will be a complaint about Daryl.
Right, well I can deal with that today, but
so
that's totally up to you.
Yeah. So this all started really, as far as the compliance department is concerned, regarding this letter. Which came to the care of address. Right? Now, this letter here, would you be able to tell me, from what you can observe on this letter, when was this letter printed?
It's not a letter. It's come from Jobcentre, but it's not a letter that we use. It's not a letter. It's come from Jobcentre, but it's not a letter that we use.
This was sent through the post. This come through the post. Would you be able to tell me the date of which this letter was printed?
No, because it's not on there. But
Would you be able to tell me the date of which this letter was printed?
no, because it's not on there. But what you're getting at? Go on.
Right. Well, I'm not getting it out yet. I'm just asking you a question.
Well, no, there's obviously an underlying. So if you
Oh
want
yeah,
to get
yeah,
to that,
certain, yeah. Because when I claim something, I have reasonable, articulable reasons as to why I'm claiming what I'm claiming.
Right. We're not
So,
in court, so get to the
No,
point.
of course not.
So if you
Right.
want to get to the point.
So you can see the date there. Can you see that date?
Right.
Right. Well, that's that's 22nd of August 2014. Would that be right?
Well, that's what he says.
That's what it says, right? So you've got a letter printed out on the 22nd of August for an appointment, and what does that date say there?
Well, I'm sure you can read it as much as I
Right,
can.
Saturday, the 11th of October,
Right.
2014.
Right.
So what's that? Roughly 6 weeks difference
Prior.
between that date and that date.
Yeah.
So this letter was printed out 6 weeks before, for an appointment that was due 6 weeks later,
Right.
roughly. Right. So first of all, I want to understand why you're making appointments so far ahead, 6 weeks in advance. Why does that happen?
It depends, because we do have what we call quarterly reviews that have to be done by a certain time scale. What does this say this is?
Yeah.
It's a Saturday. This we don't usually interview on a Saturday.
Well, I've got an
but
appointment for Saturday the 11th of October.
It sounds like we were open before Christmas because we were catching up on work that needed to be done. It sounds like we were open before Christmas because we were catching up on work that needed to be done. It sounds like we were open before Christmas because we were catching up on work that needed to be done.
Right.
So you'd have been booked in to come in and see us.
Right.
And that's why,
Right.
because we don't normally work on a
Now,
Saturday.
this letter for this appointment, so the appointment was for Saturday the 11th of October 2013. Okay. This come into the post box Saturday the 11th of October 2014.
Right.
So clearly it was sent at a time where it would have arrived for the very same date the appointment was due.
Right.
Right. So my concern with this is the job centre has issued me with an appointment. This letter telling me about the appointment has arrived on the day that the appointment was due.
Right.
Right. And it was a Saturday.
Right.
and the job centre know that I've got kids on a Saturday, so there's been no due consideration there.
Right.
So there was that. That's the first complaint
There's
about
nowhere
this
on your
letter.
record before you saw Daryl that you've got children on a Saturday. It's not logged anywhere on your record
Right.
because I've been through your whole record this morning.
Since I made a claim in August, I've said until I'm blue in the face that I have children on the weekend, and it was Sharon, second floor, second to third desk on the right, who I saw consecutively
Right.
on a weekly basis, who can confirm that indeed
And I can go see
I have.
Sharon because she's not logged it anywhere on the system.
Right.
So obviously this team were not aware.
Right. So there's been
But your
miscommunication there, hasn't there?
But your job seekers agreement actually says you're available for work on a Saturday.
No, it doesn't.
Saturday. I'm sure it does.
I'm sure it doesn't. And when you find out and confirm that it does state I'm not,
I'll have a look.
that's going to be another example, because you said you were sure of that.
Yeah.
So I know you're not sure of it, because I know you're
Or
wrong.
it's the time. Sorry, I saw a different customer.
Availability.
Yesterday. It's availability.
That's
yours.
right.
Yeah. Sorry, I saw a different customer.
Availability.
Yesterday. It's availability.
That's
yours.
right.
Yeah. It's
Right.
a different customer I saw.
So Sharon can confirm that indeed,
Right.
since I was blue in the face.
Let's get on with the point because we're
Right.
labouring this
Good
out.
stuff.
We
Right.
could
So-
go on forever.
But it's,
So you got your letter.
it's important
you're
that we
saying-
understand. Let's take it
I
slowly.
fully understand. You don't need to go slowly because
Good.
I do this
Right.
quite a lot.
Good.
I do this
Right.
quite a lot.
Good.
So
All
a
right.
letter was posted out. We're saying it went on the 28th. You're saying you didn't get to the 12th. So there's something there in between, whether it was lost in the
Right.
post, whether it's turned up late. Did you have the envelope that it came in so it shows when the date stamp was when it went through the post office?
Right. Okay. That's good stuff.
Because obviously you're saying one thing, we're saying another. The letter says a different thing. So we really need to sort of obviously. You think there's a bit of a conspiracy thing going on here. We think we've probably posted
Did I say
it
that?
out. No, but you think there's a bit of a conspiracy thing going on here. We think we've probably posted
Did I say
it
that?
out. No, but that's what happens with
So
customers.
you're telling me what?
No,
I think.
I get that a lot with customers.
Right. Right.
Because they worry that we do things on purpose.
Right, you're dealing with me.
Because they worry that we do things on purpose.
Right, you're dealing with me, right? Not your other customers, right?
We're going
Right.
on, right?
So don't pigeonhole us in the same.
I'm not. I'm just saying
Right.
people think that we do things on
Right.
purpose and we don't.
Well, I think that, I'm saying that there's been incompetence and
But if the letter
possibly
went-
deliberate lies.
that could be
That's
through
me
the
just
post
saying it.
office.
So you're just saying it and I'm just saying it, but that's neither
Right, let's
either.
move on.
Either. That's it. Move on. Good stuff. Right. So I got this on the Sunday.
Right. You
Because
said
the-
the Saturday a minute ago.
It was delivered on the Saturday. It was in the
Right.
post box. Now,
Okay.
it was a care of address and it's a
Right.
post box, and I don't have access to the post box.
Right.
Right. This is not my home.
Okay.
Right. So I get a phone call on Saturday from the person who lives at my care of address,
Right.
and she said, "Right, James, there's a letter here for you." I says, "Right." So I came up on the Sunday, collected my mail,
Right.
looked at it, and I thought this was an appointment for yesterday.
Right.
When did this come in? When did this come in mail? She says, "Well, I checked them on Friday evening. There was nothing there." I says, "Right, okay." I says, "Thanks." So obviously, I couldn't. It was a Sunday when I got it, so I couldn't speak to the job centre about it.
Right.
So I thought that the only logical option was to call into the job centre physically with the letter and explain what happened.
Right.
Right. So I've come in with the letter, explained this to Anne, and you can see here, date received, Sunday the 12th of October. These are my notes.
Right.
Went to Job Centre on the Monday the 13th of October 2014
Right.
and spoke to Anne.
Right.
It was to explain this letter.
Right.
Right. Which, sure enough, she got the sheet out, statement, signed it, reason why I didn't attend this appointment.
Right.
Because, and it's a good job I did, because later I got this saying a doubt has arisen on your claim for job seekers allowance because it appears that you failed to attend an advisor interview or
Yeah.
job search review.
Yeah.
So it's just as well I come down
Yeah.
about the appointment because this was sent out later anyway.
Well, that'll have been sent out when you came, because when you come down, those go out automatically.
Of course.
So
it's that's automated.
That's been from when I'm.
Because you've set an
seeing
appointment,
you.
I didn't attend, you've sent that out as
Yeah.
procedure,
Yeah.
which is fine. And that's why I come down to discuss this letter.
Yeah,
And
so,
I gave
right.
my reasons for it,
And it went
signed
up
it.
to
And
the
that wasn't an
decision
issue.
maker. Yeah, that goes to the decision maker.
And this is where it comes into the compliance thing. Now, I thought it might be helpful at the time to bring someone with me that particular day because she could support and give a witness statement herself if necessary.
Yeah.
Right. To support in my claim that indeed this was received on the day it was actually the appointment was for, and I didn't actually physically get the letter until the Sunday.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Got
and
ya.
to confirm that the reason that was the case was not because I didn't check my mail, was because it's a care of address, and I
Right.
wanted to bring someone in.
I think I know where this is going. So you
There you
brought
go.
a female with you that's a care of address. So the
Exactly.
automatic thing that we would do on that is refer it to compliance to check there's no living together.
And this is what I'm trying to establish. I'm just trying to understand the procedure, that's all.
Is that what's happened?
Right.
Because that's what Anne should have done.
Right.
She should have made a referral,
Yep.
or whoever you saw should have noticed you'd got a care of address, noted it's a female, and it's standard policy to refer.
And I don't dispute that.
Yeah.
Right, that's all. And like I say, I'm not taking issue with anyone,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I do
No,
have a
that is-
specific claim to make.
Yeah.
But I understand your procedures, and I don't dispute
It
I
could
don't
have
dispute
been,
that.
if you'd have told anybody when you were talking about receiving post and it's a female address, it's an automatic thing. Any member of staff should have made that referral. And all it is to check that you're not living together.
And I don't dispute that.
It's not to check you are,
Yep.
it's
No,
to just
no.
make sure that the
And
policies are
I
being
don't dispute
done.
that at all. And
So if she's, if,
and
if,
I also found out from the compliance department that in actual fact, if somebody is using a care of address, they would check that out anyway.
yeah, they normally do. And whoever's seen
And
it,
do you know
be
what?
it Anne, be it anybody,
Sure thing, not a problem.
yeah. And it shouldn't be because
And it
it's
shouldn't
just
be.
standard. Yeah,
And I've not an issue with that, and I just
Yeah.
want to make that clear.
yeah. No,
Right.
that's good.
Great.
Yeah. But the
But-
staff are doing the job if they do that.
But this is where my complication comes in, because in trying to understand this, when I understand that,
Yeah.
but I'm hearing a version of events which contradicts
All right.
and makes what you're saying a little bit more complicated, because there's more to it than that.
All right. Go on then.
And that's what I'm trying to get to.
Go on.
So she started asking me at the time, after dealing with this, which was great, you know, she did indeed deal with this situation. She put it through, and I don't know, I'm still here. I was
Yeah.
never any issues arose from
Yeah,
that.
so
They
it
never
went-
got
it
back
went
to me, so it
through,
went
yeah.
through, and
Yeah.
someone's obviously signed off on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's great. So thanks, Fran, for that. However, she's then begun to ask me of all the locations of all the people that I stay at.
That were to do the compliance referral.
Right, that's okay.
That's probably
yeah.
why she's done it. Because obviously she's got to, if we're referring to compliance, they need enough background. Because if we just sent
She's
it
just
up,
asking questions, and I've not a problem with that.
Yeah.
However,
if she sent it up and didn't know anything and just said you had a care of address female and would give no information about where you were living, then obviously there's more of a case probably
Right.
that they would be thinking, hang on a minute, why is he not telling us?
sure thing, right? So, in this process, first I'm alarmed because I first become homeless in the month of the end of February 2013.
Right. Because there are lots of things that people can help you with. There are
I
lots
know.
of places to go.
I've lived 10 years in Glasgow. Spent
Yeah.
about 4 or 5 years of homelessness up
Yeah.
there. I know the homeless scheme.
Yeah.
I know how
What
it
you've
works.
got to remember is, because we're claiming benefits, it's government funded, so we have to make sure that people are claiming it correctly.
And do you know, I've no issue with that.
It's not a case
problem.
of
Right.
they're doing the job
No,
right
that's
if they
fine.
are starting to ask questions that are quite delving.
And that's fine. And
Yeah.
but I'm getting to it. Right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, go on.
so she's asking me the names of places that people are staying. I've explained to her that when I was made homeless in February 2013, I used my mother's address as a care of address. I
Right.
didn't stay there. I didn't live there. I stayed.
Compliance would have normally come out to visit that as well to
Right.
check.
Well, they didn't.
Right.
What happened was, is she got up, discovered one morning she hadn't been paid. Now, my mum is 60 odds.
Yeah.
She's on incapacity disability
Right, so it
for
yeah.
a lot of issues.
Yeah.
A lot of issues, right? And the money was stopped
Right.
for several weeks without notice, without warning, and it's not until she made an inquiry that she was told that her money had been stopped because somebody was living with her and she didn't declare it
Right. And that's because you were using the house
as a care of address.
Yeah.
But nobody
Yeah.
checked or asked.
They should have done.
Right.
Which is
So
why,
they've taken action.
Yeah. Yeah.
without any evidence or suspicion. Now,
I mean, I can't comment on
No.
the case because I've not been involved.
and neither could Anne,
Yeah.
right? Neither could Anne,
Yeah,
right?
we have to do our job to the
Of
best
course,
of our
and I
ability.
totally respect that.
Yeah.
But the problem with this is that the response I got from Anne was that wouldn't happen.
Right.
Well, it did happen, and 75% of sanctions have been overturned.
Right.
That's a fact, and it's
So
undisputable.
You've been sanctioned. You've
No.
lost me there a little bit. Right.
No,
sorry.
I've not been
Oh,
sanctioned,
right,
no.
right. You've,
It's just a fact
right.
that your own records show 75% of sanctions have been overturned.
Well, let's get back to your
Right.
case. So you
So
had
I
a
explained-
compliance visit then? Is that the?
No,
Right.
I wasn't. I used my mother's address as a care of address. After that, she wouldn't speak to me.
Right. Which is, yeah.
She was freaked out, and she's on incapacitated, so it's
Yeah.
caused distress and alarm,
Yeah.
and it's actually ruined my relationship with my mother because I haven't spoken to her
can't
since.
comment on
No,
that,
of course
obviously,
not.
'cause
Of course
I've
not.
not been involved in
But
that.
I explained to Anne that the reason I do not want to give any of my personal information out to anyone is that, and I checked with my MP to make sure that this was okay, and he said, yeah, that's totally fine, as long as they've got a care of address, they don't need to know any other information.
We will question you. What you've
They
got to
can question, but
understand.
I need to sort of, I need to follow through with this, because we're not going to get anywhere with the actual compliance section, but after so we dealt with this letter.
Yeah, what Anne did were right
No,
because you
no,
could have ended up in the
I
predicament.
don't dispute with that at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
At this point, I'm completely in compliance.
Yeah, they
and
do
understanding.
a really good job, and it's
No
just
problem.
all it is checking people are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
And I'm
that's
agreeing
it.
with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, for certain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I explained to her that I'm couch surfing,
Right.
right? Friends and family,
Yeah.
and camping,
Yeah.
sometimes for days on end,
Right. Okay.
right? Which,
So from
right.
that, then she.
So I said to her, I says, I'm not willing to, so it doesn't happen again.
Right.
Right. And I says, well, why do I have to? And she went, well, it's compliance. I says, well, I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me. If people are willing to put me up and they ask me not to tell anyone, I'm going to respect that.
Right.
So, and she went away, checked, come back, and never mentioned another word about it.
And that's fine.
And that's fine.
Yeah, because that's what she should have done. Because if you're not prepared, you can stop at people's on odd night, even if
Right.
they're on benefit. It doesn't affect their benefit. But if you're not prepared to tell us that, then what Anne would have done is referred it up with just the information we had.
And that's great, that's fine.
And that's her job.
But my problem hasn't come into play yet. This is not where my issue starts. This is
Yeah,
building
go
up to
on.
where it starts. Because you need to understand the background.
Yeah, go on.
Right. So what's happened then is at some point in the middle of all this, after that, after she's gone away and checked and come back, while she was away checking, I thought, and I waved Simone down. I brought her with me.
Right.
And I said, so this is Simone, this is the lady that I'm using as a care of address.
Right.
And she's sure enough, she went, do you stay there? I says, no. I says, it's a care of address only, and I stay at friends and families or sleep in the woods 1 or 2 nights a week.
Right.
Right? And she went, right, okay. And sent Simone away.
Right.
I think she was, she didn't, I don't think she liked Simone just like showing up at a desk like that.
Well,
and
we normally say we need to interview you on
obviously.
your own because of
So,
obviously, but anyway.
It was no harm done, it was just
Yeah,
to try to
yeah.
be helpful. So that was fine. And I wrote down there, I took Simone with me to further confirm to Anne the address was a care of address only, and I stayed in the woods or at friends and families 1 or 2 nights a week.
No, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Now, and then we went away and that was it.
Yeah.
Right? And obviously, so many weeks
You'd have got a letter.
later, and I got this letter. Jim Cuthbertson was his name, and it was this. And
Yeah.
this was the
Yeah. And
the
that's
thing,
that's the
right?
compliance visit.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is what should quite rightly happen. Yeah.
So we got this thing here, right? So you know about the compliance department. Now we had the compliance visit,
Yeah.
right? But what I want to stress here is that eventually, after the compliance visit, I made further inquiries,
Right.
right? And I was telling Steve Prosser about it on the 6th of January when I come in to sign on.
Yeah.
9:14, so I believe it was a sign-on date. And I asked him about the situation, about the letter, about the compliance.
Oh, the
So,
visit.
yeah.
Right, I get you. Sorry, yeah.
And I was querying it, and I says, has Anne put in a referral to the compliance department?
He won't be able to tell.
Right. But
Yeah.
he looked on the system and he showed me the report that, you know, you can put notes on that little bit there, that
Oh, conversation.
yeah, conversations and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he showed me, and Anne's own report, own notes confirm, and he was confounded because he's like, Anne's own very notes back up
What you've said.
what I've said
Yeah.
and written down on here.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But you'd still have to make the referral.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's policy.
Yeah. Right.
Even though you're telling us, compliance have to just verify
Right.
that. Because we can't come out and visit you in your home. We can't come check that you're using a care of address and you're not living there. Because what could potentially happen is what happened to your mum is because you're registered at someone's address. If they're in receipt of benefit as a care of address,
Well,
it could stop their money.
my mum was just, monies was stopped dead. No warning, no thing.
What
But
we normally do is the right thing, which is refer to compliance to come out, visit, check you're not living there. I'm sure they've done that. It's not a problem.
right, and I've not disputed that, and it's no problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So she's done what she should have
So
done.
now we're going to get
She's
on
backed
to
it up with what
yeah,
you've said, though.
on your own system.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
when it goes to compliance, that backs up
Right.
their visit
Yeah.
as well, because they're saying, well, actually, he's saying
Right.
this.
Well, that's interesting. You should say that because this is where my issue with
Right, go on.
it comes
Carry
into
on.
comes
Yeah.
into effect.
Right.
I have on video record Jim Cuthbertson from the compliance department stating on record
Right.
it was stated in the report referred to the compliance department that I stayed at the care of address for 2 nights a week.
But that we can't put that on a report.
His own words.
You mentioned at the job centre that you sometimes stay.
No, I didn't.
No, we've got proof.
It's a care of address.
Right.
We've got proof.
And we're more than happy to do the visit. We're happy to comply, but it would be under duress.
Gone at the job centre.
Well, that's a problem then, isn't it? If you don't understand what's going on at the job centre.
That you've said you stay a couple of nights.
I never said that. That's it.
Well, that's what there's on
Well,
the referral.
if that's a report, I want to know who's written the report so I can put a complaint in.
No, well, I'm saying I
You've
don't
been
know. I'm just
misinformed.
that you mentioned at the job centre that you stay a few nights.
No, I didn't. That's a lie.
Well,
see,
that
what
was
happened
really,
is,
you know,
right, you've said something down at the job centre. You're both on benefit.
No, I haven't said anything like that.
Well, this is what.
It's just what you've said, that's all. You
Yeah.
said you've come here because we're both on the same address.
That's right.
Right. But that's been deemed perfectly okay by the job centre before the claim went
It
through.
was okay when we went down.
So the reason is that the reason you're here is not because we're on the same address. It's because you've had a report.
Somewhere along the line, you've mentioned that you stayed a couple.
It's noted for the record that is not the case. So whoever you need to put, my response to that is that's not the case, and that the person who wrote that report has to explain why they've given incorrect information and made a false report.
I don't know.
Because it's a result of that report that you've come out to somebody's private home. This is the issue.
Well,
you know.
right, care over people. We assume that you come to the flat to pick up your mail.
Yeah.
Is there any reason why you can't be interviewed with that person? We do this on a regular basis on the care of address.
Yeah, but that
It's a
works
good
both
way-
ways.
it's a
You
good way of
can't.
getting
Yeah,
around.
but you can't say
couldn't-
there's no reason why you couldn't, because there might be a reason why I couldn't. Because if you don't have access to the flat and that person isn't available, you're not getting in. So there might be a reason why you wouldn't do it. You're saying.
Well, we didn't know this till I've just come out to see you both.
But you should know this. This is my frustration. The fact that you don't have all this information that's already been relayed to the job centre.
No,
We-
no. Listen, you both claim from the same address. We get a referral. We send a letter out, presumably, to come and see you both just to discuss the situation.
Yeah, but it's the false report from the job centre, you see, that's resulted in you coming out. Not because you're not here because I've got a care of address to the same person. Yeah, that's not the reason you're here. You're here because it was referred to you to come out to here. That's the thing. The very first report that resulted in you having to take action.
Tell Advantage to give me a ring, can you?
Yeah.
Well, that's just what the Jobcentre referred to us.
Right. Well, I need to make a complaint about a false report then, don't I? Because you've admitted already that.
You better speak. I don't know who
Yeah.
sent it.
I know who sent it. Anne.
Yeah.
Are you down at Eastbrook Court?
Yeah.
Down Bottomley Road?
Eastbrook Court.
Some of them are not exactly nice.
Right, and they're not, I'm telling you, they're not through experience. I'm not making it up, I'm not telling stories, I'm telling you my experiences. I went in there one time and she wanted to know all of the places that I stay at. But that's personal outside the job centre. They've got a care of address, but I'm only allowed to stay at these places on the condition that they don't get anything to their door relating to me. James, we love you, we'll let you stay over. You can't use us because of what happened to your mum. We don't want you using it as a care of address, but we love you. We don't want to see you on the streets. We know you're sleeping in woods sometimes. If we offer you a bed, you don't tell anyone. Fine, right. Why would I violate that trust with them to give the job centre information they don't actually need when they've already got a care of address, a point of contact?
There's no problem. You have been transparent.
Yeah.
But just some information's been passed to us.
Right.
That come
So
out
I need to make a complaint about a false report that you've received
when
then.
the next sign on.
Yeah. But I need to inform you that you've received a false report. Because I wouldn't say that I stay here when I don't stay here. I use it as a care of address, and till I'm blue in the face. From day one, I brought her down to the job centre on my first day at the job centre. I brought her down with me.
It seems that you called Simone over whilst you were being interviewed.
Yeah, it was Anne. It was Anne. She's the one who's made the report.
And she was really rude. Went, no, you can go sit down.
I don't know who Anne is, to be honest.
Yeah, she's the one who's put the report in.
I don't know.
And that's simply because he wouldn't give her.
Because I wouldn't tell her of all the names and addresses of all the people that are willing to put me up.
Let's discuss all this when you come down.
We should. We should.
So it wasn't
It should be discussed. And that's where it's in the public interest, you see. Where it's perfectly... Do you know what? You should check that nobody's ripping the system off. You should check that.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But let's have a little respect for the rights of the man.
People to see.
I know. And we don't have we want you to know we don't have a problem with it.
It's just now you've confirmed what we already knew is why we're recording it, because
well, I don't know. Just a
you've
referral.
You've just confirmed it
Don't know
because
who she is.
you've just said to me that I went over.
No, you don't know who she is, but
No, you don't personally, but
you've just admitted
that's
that.
the whole reason.
The referral from the job centre.
Yeah, you know the woman that he says, oh, apparently I brought her in and brought her over just to confirm the information.
The information I've got to you.
You have to, it's disclosure, yeah.
That's right.
And I appreciate that. I want to know this information.
Thank you, yeah.
I'll just
Yeah.
say this is the information I've got from the job centre. We get, apart from the job centre, there's
So it's an
thousands of
inspection.
referrals,
Yeah,
right, coming on a daily basis. We have to make sure that the person are claiming correctly. Simple
Yeah,
as
that's
that.
And we appreciate that. That's why we had everything here for you. I mean, I could just grab the letter now and show you it, just if you wanted to read it from.
I mean, I can start that's quite easy.
I want you to.
We tick a box that says there's a potential, It's living together, staying self-employment. There's lots of different boxes.
Yeah.
There is a note space they can put on there. But I mean, if you've not even mentioned stopping, why would Anne put that on anywhere?
Exactly.
But I mean, if you've not even mentioned stopping, why would Anne put that on anywhere?
Exactly. And that's
So-
exactly what. That's exactly the same question I asked.
Yeah. Yeah,
And you've asked the same question.
and we just click a box. We don't do because it's quite time consuming if you have to go into full reports. So for us to do our report, we just click through and send it and let compliance do their job. And we're not saying people that turn us to truth. We just want to clarify the situation's right.
This comes to me questions. Why is there a report on one hand?
Can I just ask? I know you're going into this in quite great depth, but did they stop your money? Did
No.
they find any case
Nope.
to answer to? So
Nope.
I won't worry about it.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, so I would.
I'm not worried about
I don't know
it.
why he said what
I'm
he said.
pissed about it.
Right, why?
I'm not worried about
I don't know
it.
why he said what
I'm
he said.
pissed about it.
Right, why? Because
Right.
I've done a job.
Yeah.
I don't know where they've got that side of it from. Anybody, if you moved address now and use someone else's care of address, particularly if it's a female They will check, even if it's male, if they're on benefit, they will
Yeah.
come out and check. We will do a compliance.
I've already
referral.
told you I don't have a dispute with that.
Yeah.
How many times do you want me to agree with you?
But I don't understand.
Right. Well, let me explain so you do understand.
Yeah.
Right. This is my problem. On the one hand, I've got my own notes and Anne's notes on the system supporting what took place and was said
Compliance
that
have
day.
access to that,
Right.
so they can print all those conversations off.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I want to know is why the compliance department, who admit they're not here because it's a care of address. I know that that's supposed to take place anyway.
But care of address, we click potential living together. That's the only option we've got. It's not using a care of address to
Is that
live.
what was put? Potentially living together?
If it's male and female, they'll click potential living together because it's the tick.
You mentioned in the job centre that you sometimes stay.
No, I didn't.
No, we've got proof.
It's a care of address.
Right.
What I want to know is why the compliance department, who admit the only reason I have made this appointment, James, this is Jim's own words on video record. He's stood at the door, we've got him on video recording, and he's blatantly said the words, the reason I am out here today is because a report was referred to the compliance department.
Yeah, and it
Full stop.
Yeah, and that's true.
He says it's a check that happens anyway, but we clarified on video, just to be clear, the reason he's not here was because a care of address was being used and they were trying to check that out.
It's a potential living together case.
No.
That's what
I need you to understand this.
Yeah, I mean, there's no problem. You have been transparent.
Yeah.
But just some information's been passed to us.
Right.
To come
So
out
I need to make a complaint about a false report that you've received
when
then.
the next sign on.
Yeah.
It seems that you called Simone over whilst you were being interviewed.
Yeah.
And
It was Anne. It was Anne. She's the one who's made the report.
I'm going to put the information I've got to you. When
You have to, it's disclosure, yeah.
That's right.
And I appreciate that. I want to know this information.
I'll just say this is the information I got from the job centre.
It's just what you said, that's all. You said you've come here because we're both on the same address.
That's right.
Right. But that's been deemed perfectly okay by the job centre before the claim went through. So the reason is that the reason you're here is not because we're on the same address, it's because you've had a report.
Somewhere along the line you mentioned that you stayed a couple of
This is
times.
Jim's own words of from the compliance department, what they are telling me and I am telling you. Right, I'm passing this information on so you can understand, because you said you don't understand.
Yeah, well, I don't understand where he said he got the 2 nights from, because we don't put anything like that. We tick it as a potential living together.
He's told me that he's not here. I know that the care of address is a separate issue. He was here specifically because a report was referred and what was in the report. And in that report, he stated that the report showed, I brought Simone with me down the very day, that that someone from in here spoke to both myself and Simone, which they did. It was Anne. I wrote it down. We had the conversation. That's on the system.
I can find out where he thinks he's got that from.
That's on the system.
I can find out where he thinks he's got that from.
That's on the system.
I can find out where he thinks he's got that from.
So you yourselves wouldn't be able to tell me who issued a report to the compliance
I
department?
wouldn't be able to tell you, no, because I don't have access to everybody's icons.
Who does have access? And that I stayed at Simone's place 2 nights a week.
Right, well, we don't know where
She states that in the report.
I can follow that up.
Right. So if that's the case, there's a clear contradiction between the reports, the notes I made on that day and she made on that day, confirming me, which Steve Prosser confirmed when he showed me the notes.
We log it on our system.
And he showed me, because he looked at it and he went, wait, it can't be Anne, because she supported what you said there.
There's no problem. You have been transparent.
Yeah.
But just some information's been passed to us.
Right.
To come
So
out
I need to make a complaint about a false report that you've received
when
then.
the next sign on.
Yeah.
It seems that you called Simone over whilst you were being interviewed.
Yeah. It was Anne. It was Anne. She's the one who's made the report.
I'm going to put the information I've got to you. When
you have to, it's disclosure, yeah.
That's right.
And I appreciate that. I want to know this information.
I'll just
Yeah.
say this is the information I got
And
from
that's
Brilliant.
exactly what it is, yeah.
But the compliance department have stated on video that
Right.
in the report it states stays at the care of address 2 nights a week.
Right, well, I'll follow that up. That's not a problem.
Do you agree that that is a contradiction?
I do, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I do, because I don't know where they've got that information
If a
from.
do you agree that that is a contradiction?
I do, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I do, because I don't know where
Seems
they've
that
got
you
that
called,
information
If a
from.
called Simone over whilst you were being interviewed.
Yeah,
And
it
you
was
said-
Anne. It was Anne.
You just
She's
told
the
us.
one who's made the
Taken
report.
place, I want to know, was the gross negligence
There was no gross negligence.
or deliberately lying?
Well, I don't really know, and I can't say that people are lying. I'd like to know where the compliance used to try and find out if someone's living together, whether that's conversations they use to try and trip you up if they think that you might be. I don't really know, because I haven't done a compliance job.
Now,
I don't think anybody's lying. I think what people are doing is checking benefits paid correctly.
well, I don't want to know what you think it might be. I want to know what it is.
All I'm telling you is that your benefit's still being paid.
That's not the issue. I'm not talking about my benefits being stopped. I'm here to talk about I've got a complaint about a contradiction
Right, and I can
that-
follow that up.
that has been brought to my attention
and I
through the
will-
compliance
right,
department.
Okay, but I think you're focusing on it for the wrong reason.
You don't know what my reasons are, with all due respect, but you
Right.
don't know what my
What
reasons
I'm
are.
telling you is you have proved your case because you're not living there and your benefits still
I have
going
proved
on.
my case and I'm not
So,
living there, and
I
I've now
will-
actually since
right, do you
then
just want to
changed my
calm down?
circumstances slightly
Do you just
and
want to
declared that
calm
to you.
down and just lower
I'm
your
quite
voice?
calm, I really am calm,
Well,
honestly.
please lower your voice because you do put other people off. Okay,
Well,
that are having interviews round you.
I've heard no complaints as of
Right,
yet.
you do put other people off.
Well,
Okay.
that's
So,
hearsay at the moment.
I will chase it up with compliance and I will have discussion with the
Right.
compliance manager as to what's being said. That's not
My
a
MP's
problem.
already wrote a letter himself
fine.
separately. Do you want to see the letter?
I don't need to see a
Right.
letter from your MP. Okay.
Because he's personally wrote into the Jobcentre and made
Right.
these same
And
inquiries.
that's fine, and we'll leave that with your MP as well.
Yep.
So what you need to do now is, if that's the case, is you need to leave your MP on with it and leave me on with it.
No,
Okay?
that's well,
But you can't keep going on about it
I've
every
got
time
some-
you come in.
well, I've-
But you can't keep going on about it
I've
every
got
time you
some-
come in. You need to look at your job search
when did I
now.
mention this?
Right, well, you've kept coming in and trying to see me, haven't you? So I'm assuming this is what you've tried to get out, so leave it with me now.
Well, this is the second time I've tried to see you, and
You
it's
didn't
been a
turn up.
successful.
Yeah, well, you didn't come the first time.
Well,
did you?
it wasn't an appointment that I was made aware of. It was just that you were going to be available for 10:30, and
Yeah.
if I wanted to see you, I could catch you then.
Well, that wasn't what I was told. I was
Right.
told
Well,
you'd
so
been
again, there's
appointed.
miscommunication
Right.
here. So
Let's
it
just
seems to
draw
be
a
a
line under
consistent
that.
thing, isn't it,
Right.
within this place?
Okay, let's just draw
Yeah.
a line under the
But I do have-
conspiracy
I-
theory and let's move on.
Cons-
Okay, let's just draw
Yeah.
a line under the
But I do have-
conspiracy theory and let's move on.
Conspiracy theory. I've
Come
not
on.
stated any conspiracy.
You
You
bet
come
you
on.
go in there.
I'm not. Am I?
Come
You don't
on.
know where I'm going.
Right, let's move on. Let's
Right.
carry on.
I'd like to know if you can confirm who sent the report and the exact details
I
in
can't
that
because we
report.
don't have access, I've told
Right.
you that.
In
Can't
that
because we don't
report.
have access, I've told
Right.
you that.
That's
Well,
on
I
the
can
system.
find out where he thinks he's got that from.
And- And who would have access to
Well,
that?
I don't. The report just gets put on a spreadsheet and then they go in order as to when the report comes through and go visit people. And as far as I'm aware, it's just ticks in a box.
Do you agree that I'm entitled to that information if I wanted to know it?
You can go, we do have a central team and you can ask for any information we keep on you. You can ask for that evidence to be sent to you, but I can't give you that. I don't
Would
have
you agree
access.
that I'm entitled to it?
I would agree that you're entitled to access to any record we keep on you, and we've got a central team that deal with
So
it.
if I request some information that relates to me, there
You
shouldn't
can
be any
get that.
issues about getting that
You
information.
go through the central team, you can do that.
Right. If somebody does have a complaint, like I do,
Who you've put it through your MP.
if somebody does have a complaint, like I do,
Who you've put it through your MP.
well, I've done that, but
Right.
That's what you would suggest. If they
No.
come to you with it, would you deal with it or just send them immediately to the MP?
No, we would deal with it because
If they come to you with it, would you deal with it or just send them immediately to the MP?
no, we would deal with it because what
You would
happens
deal
is
with it.
you send it to the MP, it comes directly back to us
Right.
anyway.
So, if there is a complaint of gross negligence and or deliberately lying, would that person be held accountable for that? If that was found to be the case?
If it was found to be the case, then the person would be accountable.
Right.
As far as I'm aware, I can't see any of it, but through your eyes, obviously you see something different, so you have a right to do whatever you choose to do.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Because
I
I
mean,
can do this.
Yeah,
And I will do
no,
this.
well, that's fine. That's your right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I
I
mean,
can do this.
Yeah,
And I will do
well,
this.
that's fine. That's your right.
Because it seems to me that these work coaches is what they are. These people here, I believe them to be work coaches, not advisors, nor are they mental health physicians, probation officers, drug or alcohol misuse experts. They're none of that stuff.
We have
But
experts in those areas if you need them.
yeah, but it's not them experts who put the complaints into the compliance department, is it? It's them.
But they're doing the job.
Right. But this issue about being a care of address, now I've stated it's a care of address,
We have to check that out.
right, and you have to check that out.
We have thousands of people saying the care of address, and some are genuinely care of address and some aren't. So it's our job to check it out. We
And-
treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
So anybody that tells us they're a care of address, be it at new claim stage or be it you change your circumstances when you come down or we find it during conversations, we will refer. We will refer other things to compliance. There are lots of things we look at and there are triggers that we look at to send to compliance, and compliance do their job by finding if there's not a case to answer to usually, and that's good because that means we've referred rightly, they've checked it out, they're checking we're paying benefit for the right reasons, good. Sometimes they do find there's a case to answer to and then benefit needs to stop.
There were a guy in hospital due to kidney failure getting 6 pints of blood transfused into himself due to kidney failure. Got a call from the job centre. He was asked to come in. He says, I'm in the hospital due to kidney failure. I can't come in. They suspected he were lying and his money was stopped.
But this isn't your case, is it? And
No,
I can't
but it's an
answer.
example that it does
But
take
I
place, and
cannot-
I'm claiming that it's taking place again. I'm claiming.
that you're having a blood transfusion and 6 pints and you
No.
can't be available for work.
I think you're just being funny now, and I think
I'm not.
I do.
It's irrelevant to your
I
case.
do. I think
you
yeah.
had a compliance referral.
I think since I've come in here, really.
You proved you weren't living together. Your benefits continued. There's been no issues. To me, there's no case to answer to. So everything's fine.
Yeah.
I think you just.
These work coaches seem to have unprecedented powers at the wave of a pen.
But they don't. They've done
Can
the
sanction
job.
somebody.
They've done their job. They can only they do not make any decisions themselves. Any decisions go to a central decision maker with evidence from yourself, or they go to compliance with evidence from yourself and put the conversation on to back your record up, and put the conversation on to back your record up, and put the conversation on to back your record up. So
They couldn't
don't
prove.
have,
They couldn't. They didn't give me mum any evidence that I was as
That's
to why
not
they thought
anything
I was
can
living there.
comment on, as I've said
This
to you
man who had a blood
before.
transfusion.
But this is nothing to do with your case. You are claiming something totally different, and I'm not prepared to discuss anything else other than your case.
Right.
Or
So.
we'll be here all day.
Yeah, of course. But there doesn't seem to be any accountability, is there?
There's
Not
always
really.
accountability, and especially for our staff working here. They do not make a decision themselves. They cannot stop benefit. They will refer it
Has
to a
anybody
central decision.
been held accountable for somebody's money being stopped when it shouldn't have been?
What do you mean?
Well, if 75% of sanctions have
I'm
been
not discussing.
overturned,
I've told you. If it's your case, I will talk to you about your
I'm
case.
asking you a question about the process of the job centre. As far as I'm concerned, in relation to my cases, the one that I've described to you in the compliance
job's been
department,
done right,
that's
as
been
far as
discussed,
I'm
and you've
aware.
told me that you're going to go away and confirm why the compliance report
I'm not-
contradicts the report on the
What I'm
system.
saying to you, I will go away and discuss what compliance use as a conversation to try and find out if people are living together. If they go in and say, we've been told you're stopping 2 days a week to everybody, then that might be a standard they use to see if someone's living together.
If you confirm that indeed it does state that in the report it states I said that I stayed there 2 nights a week, how will you proceed?
Well, I will check out what that says if there is a report at all.
And if it turns out that that is the case, how will you proceed?
Well, then I will discuss it with the people involved.
Right. And will they be held accountable?
We will
If there's
discuss.
clearly a severe contradiction,
I
will
do-
they be
I
held?
do
Will they be held
We don't
accountable?
do public hanging, but we will look into it.
I'm not asking anyone to be hanged.
Okay.
I'm asking them to be held accountable.
We are accountable for our
Right,
job because we
right.
work for the government. So there are rules and regulations and policies in place which we will follow.
Right. So you're going to look into this, and you're going to get me the information.
I ain't going to get you any information.
You told me I was entitled to
Yes,
that
you
information.
can apply centrally to get the information. We don't give
Who
you
do I
the
apply to?
information. I can find you that information out and I will give it when you next sign because it's a central place you have to write yourself.
So it's just an address I'll write to.
And they will give you. It's a freedom of information. You can request your information, but I can't give you that.
And you can't provide that address now.
Well, I can get back to you with it. I'll go find it out because I don't know it off by heart because obviously we don't often get asked the question.
No. And that's the problem, I think. You don't often get asked the question.
I'm giving you now 10 minutes because we're just going around in circles, okay?
Yeah.
I think you're just looking for things to argue about.
No,
now.
I think I'm done.
Good.
I'll leave it with that. I'll do Darren's complaint by a written report
That's fine.
with the recording.
Right. And can I just tell you, you don't need to record staff. You're not allowed to record staff, and we won't listen to it.
Is there a law?
And can I just tell you, you don't need to record staff. You're not allowed to record staff, and we won't listen to it.
Is there a law?
It says
that states
all
I can't
over the
audio
job
record?
centre, you're not allowed unless you request
Well, according
it
to Jim
prior.
Cuthbertson on video recording, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to
tell you-
digitally record
right,
these
I'm not
meetings
discussing
here.
it any
So
further. You cannot
Don't
record.
quote me
unless
from
you-
a legal point of view, but you can record. We've looked in the instructions. There's not a problem.
Yeah.
Video recording, I'm not so sure about. Personally, I'm not comfortable. 'Cause
That's fine.
You could put this on the internet. You could put it on Facebook or whatever you do.
Well, if
I'm
you
not
was to
comfortable
say,
with that.
if you was to say you're not comfortable about the situation,
I'm
we'd
comfortable.
state
I'm
that.
comfortable with this recording, no
Right,
problem, but not the video recording. In fact, that it could go in the, as James says, in the public domain. I don't think our solicitors. I don't know from the legal point of view. Record is no problem, James. I can sit down and talk to you both, and you can record.
Yeah.
You've rung up, right? I've only picked up your email this morning. So I've been on holiday. Just to say the interview will be recorded. We looked in it up and said, yeah, there's no problem.
there's a lot of contradictory information,
We're not
isn't there?
going
It's
there.
like
Let's end the conversation.
lack of communication. Didn't get that information. That's not what I was told. I'm just doing my job.
Now. Right. Okay. End the conversation.
I think so.
Okay.
I'll be in touch.
I'm sure you will.
This place is under investigation now.
Okay.
Yeah, alright, fella. How's it going? Record what? Who says I'm recording? Thanks for that information. Well, I disagree there, but... Well, I disagree there. Have a nice day, fella. God bless.